Shalom, Facebook family, YouTube family. My name is E.J. Houston. I am a self-published author. I have written books such as Abraham Van Helsing, Origin, and Abraham Van Helsing, Legacy. Now, I would like to talk to you about these two particular books that I've written. The first is, of course, an introduction like almost every other book. They always have a prequel and then a sequel. Abraham Van Helsing's legend. It spawned off of the idea of me basing my book itself off of the legendary Abraham Van Helsing. When I was young, I used to be fascinated by a lot of his talents. He's like only the guy that Dracula never got the upper hand on, and every time that he thought he did, it was a surprise. So it made me have this thought of comedy inside of Dracula's mind, like, I think I got this guy this time, but you never got him. Got close, but you never got him. My story that I call Abraham Van Helsing's Origin took place way before he was an adult. Because if you look at most of the movies and the TV shows, like I said in some of my recent videos, it was always based upon when they were in their ages. Well, Dracula does not really age that much, so Van Helsing when he was old. But my story starts off when he was young. The building up of the character of Abraham Van Helsing, the legend, the hunter. In Origins, you're gonna read a lot of the characteristics of Van Helsing that you would never thought that he would be. I mean, judging on the character that you see in the movies, he was this nice guy that you can always talk to. He was an anthropologist. He was a scientist. He was a doctor. He was a lot of things. See, he was a man of education. But he was always a guy that you could approach. How did he become that way? Because a guy that has been nice since he was a kid is not always going to be nice when he gets older. It happens periodically. It's not always the case. So, my character, he's this uptight 17-year-old douchebag. He's assigned, because remember, he works for the church, so he's assigned a partner to assist him in apprehending a lot of the characters that you see, such as the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, and anybody that's considered a suspect, or what they will call a code red. A code red is anyone that is not doing any crimes but could be a potential threat. So, Abraham Van Helsing's job is to go in there and apprehend the suspect, bring him back to the church for him to be interrogated and not so much as destroyed or, locked up. If the church feels that you're not deemed a threat, you will be deemed a candidate to assist the church. So you can see there's a lot of people that don't want to work for the church, because they're like, if I have to work for you, or be locked up. Those are my two choices. Those are the choices that the church gave. And it's so much as the point that there's so many people that know about this church, they just run away. Van Helsing's job is to go get them and bring them to the priests. In my book, there's so many quarrels that Van Helsing gets into because of his attitude. Even his partner can't stand it. But once the characters start to understand what's going on with Van Helsing, they start to understand there's a part of him that is hurt. He's an emotional wreck. And if you read the book, you will know why. Oh, and this here is the second issue. This is Abraham Van Helsing's Legacy. This is my second book. My first book I had in my previous video, which is Origin. It's a revision of the first book that I had. I had it redone because a lot of people, especially my family, said that they could not read the back of the book, you know, and the back cover. You're like, it's too cursy, and I can't understand it. So I think I did a good job redoing the back piece and having a link to my author book page. So it's easy for you to get around, maneuver around the websites. Like I said before, you can go on my Facebook page, you can go on my YouTube page, you can go on Twitter, you can find me in all kinds of places. My book is available on Amazon, it's available on lulu.com, and also I'm working with a new publisher as well. So hopefully on my next video, I have more information based upon my books. But if you like thrills, if you like action, if you like romance and suspense, this is the book to purchase. There's a lot of things involved in this story. It's not just based upon one character. Each character in this book, in this story itself, plays a very big role in everything of building Abraham to who he became and who he was, who he is known to be today. How did he know Abraham? How did he know Dracula? How did he know Dr. Frankenstein? How did he know the Wolfman? How did he know the Invisible Man? How did he get to know these guys? What was the dialogue between these characters? Did they hate each other? Did they like each other? Were they best friends on first sight? if that's a real case. But yeah, like I said before, there is nothing dull about this story. When you read this story, it goes from one layer to another, and a lot of people actually like the Invisible Man. Some like Walton. You know, he's quite a character. I made him. He's a physicist, of course. He's the Invisible Man. He worked on a lot of experiments, and like I said before, there's a lot of things involved in the story. It's going this way, it's going that way, it's going this way, it's going that way. You would never be bored. There's always something new coming up. You're always interacting with new people. And like I said before, each character itself is a point of this story. I learned a lot about reading and watching anime and watching other movies. Don't really show that because they don't have a lot of time. But I watched a lot of anime and I read a lot of books. Learned about character development. Character development is very important, and that's what I took very important in my stories. Each character is going to be his own character. You know, you don't have like this one guy and everything depends on this one guy. No. The whole story revolves around each individual character. And each character in this story that I've made, everyone has their own, everybody has their own favorites. But me, my favorite is Colin, the Wolfman. But some people like Van Helsing's, a lot of people like Dracula that I designed. A lot of people are going to like Frankenstein when I design him, my own Frankenstein. I've seen a lot of Frankensteins in movies and read some in the comic books, but mine's is going to be a totally different Frankenstein. He's going to be unique. He's going to be very powerful, apprehensive. He's going to be it all. He's going to be everything rolled in one. It's going to take everything to take him down. And once you take him down, you have to build him back up. So, like I said before, if you like action, thriller, adventure, romance, and all of the above, all those positive things, check out Van Helsing. This is my book. It's called Abraham Van Helsing's Legacy. The prequel to this one is Abraham Van Helsing's Origin. Check them out. Like I said, they're available on all of the online book sites, and there's a lot of things that I'm like trying to put into this new piece that I'm making. The third book. It's gonna be the birth of Frankenstein. Well, not really the birth. The birth came in the previous book, but when I say the birth, I mean when you start seeing him wreak havoc. Why they call him Frankenstein. So like I said, if you like these books, try them out. You won't be disappointed. And always, if you like this video, subscribe below and check out some of the new up and coming videos that I'm going to be posting up. And always, shalom.